You see, the average American was not raised in a household that cared or talked about Middle East affairs. The average American was not raised in a household that talked or even thought about Israel. The average American was raised in a household, generally speaking, where houses were affordable, groceries were affordable, bills were affordable. And now the average American is seeing that life slip away. We're seeing grocery bills out of control. The housing market is impossible. Energy bills keep skyrocketing. And then it seems like the main issue in Washington, D.C., and the main issue that a lot of these digital social media influencers are telling us to focus on is Israel. You have to understand, we have no loyalty to Israel. We're not interested in any loyalty to Israel. Now, I can see how there could be a misconception or a misperception because you were raised in a household that cares about Israel. You were raised in a household that maybe talked about Middle East issues and affairs. The average American was not. And we don't want to hear about it. And you have to understand where we're coming from. Now, the average American that just cares about his or her country and his or her family is now being lectured and bullied and now being told you're not even welcome in political movements unless you support Israel. How do you think that makes us feel? How do you think that makes Americans feel now? Right-wingers, conservatives, they're being told there's no room for you in the right wing anymore. There's no room for you in the Republican Party. There's no room for you in a conservative movement if you don't support Israel. How do you think that makes Americans feel? Where did this come from? We don't think about Israel. We don't talk about Israel. We care about America. We care about our families, our schools, our futures. So when you come at us and you say, oh, your moral compass and your political compass is all dependent on whether you support Israel or not, don't you see what you're doing? You're angering Americans. You're hurting your cause. And so while this may be a big issue to you, Israel, the Middle East, it's not to us. It's not. And the more you try to make it the big issue, and the more you try to block anyone from political movements if they don't support Israel, the worse you look and the worse it's going to go for you. And so maybe there's just this void here where they don't understand that the average American just doesn't care. The average American does not care about the Middle East. We're sick of hearing about the Middle East. We're sick of being brought into this 1,000-plus-year-old holy war that has nothing to do with us. It shouldn't be any of our business. And while the average American is still out here suffering, it seems like every time we turn around, here comes D.C. back to prioritizing Israel. Netanyahu back to making demands. He doesn't even hide it. He brags about how he has his digital influence army. It's crazy. And then they sit here and they tell you, oh, it doesn't exist, while they brag about doing it. So you need to understand, this is not in American culture. This was not in American households growing up. You're not going to make this our big issue. And the more you try to gaslight us, like Qatar has more influence in America than Israel, and the more you try to gaslight us, like Netanyahu isn't the least popular world leader right now, the worse this is going to get. So this comes from a place of peace and love. And I was responding to two people I consider friends today, Laura Loomer and Andrew Meyer. I consider both of them to be friends. And we can have political disagreements. And that's a good thing. And I guarantee you, even if we had a very heated political debate, I could go out with both of them right now and break bread and have dinner and drinks, and we would all love life. But that doesn't change the issue. The average American is sick of hearing about the Middle East. The average American is sick of being divided on Middle East affairs and Middle East religions. We don't want anything to do with it anymore. And the more you try to drag us into this pit, and the more you try to make these issues that are not our issues, the top issues in American politics, the more the resent is going to grow, the more the pushback is going to grow, and the worse you're going to look. So I say this as a friend. If Israel is a big issue to you and Middle East affairs are a big issue to you, then that's fine. But it's not to the rest of us. It's not to the majority of Americans. We're sick of hearing about it. We care about our own country. And when you try to gaslight us and tell us that if we don't prioritize Israel or we don't share in your hatred of Muslims that somehow we're not patriotic or we're not good Americans, you're only making it worse. And it's not getting any better. And I know that it's something near and dear to your heart. It was raised in your household. You need to understand that's not where the average American comes from, not even close. So the more you try to make this the big issue, the worse it's going to get. And the more you support Netanyahu, the worse you're going to look.